Let's look real quick at number 3 in section 3.6. We're going to use the product and quotient rule as necessary to find the derivative of this function, 4x squared times cosine of x. So notice, of course, it involves a trig function, so we will need to know how to find the derivatives of the trig functions, in particular, the derivative of cosine of x. You should make sure you know the derivative of all 6 trigonometric functions. We, in the lecture video, derived the derivatives of sine of x, derivative of tangent, and the derivative of secant. And then I asked you guys to derive the derivative of cosine, cotangent, and cosecant. So make sure you follow that and are comfortable with being able to do that. In this particular problem, notice we have a product 4x squared times cosine of x, a product of 2 different functions. So we're going to have to use the product rule. Remember how that works. The derivative of a product of 2 functions, f and g, the derivative of f times g plus f times the derivative of g. So when I take the derivative of f of x, I take the derivative of 4x squared times cosine of x plus 4x squared times the derivative of cosine of x, a little prime mark here, meaning taking the derivative. And I've done that below down here pretty easy. I take the derivative of 4x squared. The power rule says bring the 2 down. 2 times 4 is 8x to the first power, right, when I subtract 1 from 2. So there's the derivative of 4x squared. And so you should know that the derivative of cosine of x is -1 times sine of x, negative sine of x. So that's all there is to it. When I clean this up, I get 8x times cosine of x plus 4x squared times a negative sine of x. So plus a negative becomes negative, right? Positive times negative, negative 4x squared sine of x. Okay. Now, I notice in Achieve, sometimes instead of writing cosine of x, they'll put the actual parentheses around the x like that. So just be careful about that. If it doesn't accept your answer, it may want it in this form down here. And that's just to remind you of the fact that, cosine and sine are the names of functions. And so it's kind of like f of x when you see sine of x, right? X is the input. You have to have an input to your function in order to talk about an output. So at any rate, here is the answer for this one. Pretty easy to do. Hope this is helpful.